Greetings, everyone. I know it's been a long time. I dropped my last video. In today's version, uh, we are going to be diving into data cleaning proper, and I'll be talking extensively on data type, which is very important in data cleaning. So navigate with me as I open up the data we're going to be using for today. This sample superstore data. I'm double clicking to open. Okay, yes, it's opened. So that's the work. My workbook has opened. Workbook for the sample superstore data. So look at this data. This workbook. Sorry. This workbook contains 3 sheets. I added this one. This is where I have my notes for the videos that will be guiding for the videos I'm making. Okay, so this is the orders sheet. From this sheet, I think it shows us everything that concerns about all the orders that were made in this superstore. This return sheet, yeah, this is open, really opened. This return sheet, I think this from this we can deduce that this may be probably some goods that were bought from this store were returned. And then this is people. This shows us the people, the persons by region, west, east, and co. So now, remember in the last video I dropped, there are short. What I'm going to be doing now is look at this note I have here. Things to look out for in data cleaning. These are the 5 things I wrote down to look out for in data cleaning. Number one is what? To check for blank or null values. So I will go back to my worksheet where I have orders. You can see my entire data sets looked, they look as if they are all overlapping each other. So first of all, I would open them up so I could be able to see all the values I have in my columns and see them very well to be able to understand very well my data set and what my data is telling me if I continue. So I have a shortcut to do that. If you watch my former videos, I I have shortcuts I put up and I like using shortcuts a lot. So first of all, I want to see how many rows I have. Control Shift on my keyboard, down arrow key. It shows me details about this data set. From the counts, I can see I have 9,995 rows. Wow, quite a large data. So now that I've seen that, I want to see how many columns I have. Same thing I will do, Control Shift right arrow key for the first row here. So this shows me I have 21 columns. Wow. So to open it up, Control Shift right and down arrow keys together. Or you can press Control A to select the entire data set, the whole entire range. And then I'll press alternate HOI. Alternate HOI helps me what? To open it all up. So I could see all the values I have across all the columns and know what my data set is telling me. From this data set, I can simply know that this is orders made from this superstore. Row ID is telling us from the column header or variable, it's telling us all the row IDs. 1, 2. It's looking like a unique identifier or a primary key. Order ID is telling us the IDs of every orders that were made. Order date is showing me the dates and co. So going back to my notes, remember I'm saying blank or null values. So to do that, I'm going to apply filter on my headers, column headers. To do that, I have a shortcut, Control Shift L. L for lion, L for lion, or L for looking. So Control Shift L applies a filter on each of my column headers. So I can point down, click down to see all the values in them. So navigating, always scroll down to the bottom. That's where you will see blank. You do this for all your columns to know if you are going to see blank. When you point down, click down, check to see if there are blanks. Well, I've looked at this data. I think we don't have much rigorous work to do on it. Not much rigorous work. It was a bit pre-cleaned from the open source before it was posted on the source I downloaded from. Okay, I've done that for that. I go back. Next thing I'm going to do is what? To check for duplicate values. Duplicate, if they have, my data has duplicates. To do that, I have a shortcut to do. I'm going to press alternate A and M. If I do that, this liner box comes out and it tells me to delete duplicate values, select one or more columns that contain duplicates. But this point, if you actually know that there are some columns that contains, this is where your columns appear. Row ID, order date, ship mode, customer ID, customer name, segment, country, city, state, and co, which is what we have here. If you actually know your data sets very well, and you know there are some duplicates in some areas, you can unselect and select the particular columns you want to apply to use as a basis for your duplicate removal. But in this case, I'm going to select all, and then I click OK. So now that I've clicked OK, I am seeing that there are no duplicate values found. That's checked. I move to the next, which is what? Check for blank rows or blank column. Now that my columns have been opened up, I will just navigate. There are no blank columns. I'm seeing it to the ending, and I know there are no blank rows. Next on my note is what? To do what? Data format and what? Data type. This is very, very important. Data type. In fact, as a data analyst, you see data type, you need to know the family each of your column headers or variables belong. You need to know in fact, it is the norm for you to understand the data type of each of your column headers. Remember I told us in my last video I dropped, I said in a layman's understanding, data type is simply assigning your column headers or variables. These are my column headers. Row ID, order ID, to the family they belong. Each of these column headers or variables tells you what the values you have under them is. You understand? This order date here tells me that this is the date. So if I look at this, I should know what I should assign this column to, what data type I should assign it to. And on Excel, where you can see data type is on your home and what? This, when you click navigate to home tab on your cell ribbon, this is Excel ribbon, home tab, and on this general, on this number section, you have to see all the data types you have in Excel. We have general, we have number, we have currency, we have account, this is what we are going to assign all these column headers. We're going to assign them to the data type they belong. And before I do that, I want to quickly move into telling you the most primary data types you are going to be seeing or accustoming as a data analyst. These data types, you must be seeing them every day. So the first one is numeric data. What is numeric data? These are just whole numbers without decimal points. They are also called integers. Example is 1, -5, 42. It can be in negative values, it can also be in positive values. Then another form of numeric data is floats. Float is just data, numbers that appear in decimal points. They are called floats, or they are also called doubles. We have 3.14 is an example, minus 0.001 is an example, 7.0 is an example. Floats in Python, they are usually called floats. You get. In Excel, it's just decimal numbers of decimal points. But they are floats. Generally, the standard is what it's called floats. Then we have categorical data. We have the nominal or ordinal. What does this mean? This is simply telling you that these are data types that the values in them have no natural order. They are not ordered. They can come in any form. Example is gender, male or female. Female can appear before male, male can appear before female. Colors is another example. Blue, green, yellow, red. Anyone can come anyhow. It's not really ordered. It's not naturally ordered. Then the ordinal categories are data that the values are in natural order. Example is when most times, most of us, we are being engaged by people taking surveys. They ask questions like, what is the highest level of education? You now have to pick from options like primary, uh, secondary level, bachelor's, master's, PhD, and co. You find out that this is ordered. It is naturally ordered. You must, first of all, finish primary school before you get to secondary school, before you head to your undergraduate studies or bachelor's and then master's and co. This is what type of data that are what ordered naturally. So another thing I want to let you know is, is the next one we're going to be looking at is what do you call it? Okay, so for the purpose of data cleaning, when you see ordinal data that appear like this, you assign them as text for the purpose of data cleaning. Okay, the next data type you'll be seeing always as a data analysis is what? Text. Texts are data types, they are data that the values appear in alphabets. They are in alphabets. Example is your name. Name of a person, address of a street. It could be anything. Name of a person, name of an animal, cat, lion, chicken, Maria, John, and co. Then note, kindly note please, that if you are writing a function in Excel or somewhere else and you want to use text, make sure you put them in quotes. You put them in quotes. You can see the example I put down here is, example is if B2 is equal to C4, give me target met. Because I'm putting target met, which is a text in this function, you get, I am putting them in quotes. Then if not, tell me target not met. And because I am putting them in text, I have them in quotes. These two commas are the quotes. Next type of data you're going to be seeing is Boolean data. Boolean, it's called Boolean. This is simply data types. This is simply data that the values are either in yes or no or true or false value. Especially when we see this kind of data is when we're in qualitative research, like all is also seen in surveys. Are you married? Yes or no. Are you single? Yes or no. Does he have children? Yes or no. Is he active? True or false? This is just Boolean data type. Boolean. I think this here is a Boolean data type. This here, this column here, this on my return sheet that shows control up, that shows returned. Whether it's returned or no, control shift L, returned, was it returned? Yes or no. If it's no, okay, but at this point we have only yes because this shows us orders that were returned. You understand? This is what a Boolean data type. Next on the list is date and time. Date and time data type is in your data sets. When you look at the values appear in dates. The values appear in dates. Example is date of birth of somebody 1990, somebody that was born in 1990, and then timestamp. So timestamp shows is when you have both your dates and your time compact together. This timestamp. And then the last on my list is the complex data, where you have array or lists. Especially people who see this kind of data is especially when you are into Python and you have to create your variables and then list an array in it and all that. Then this is for more complex data and people are actually into coding. We'll talk about this later. So now join me as I'm going to on my order sheet to assign all my variables or column headers to the data type they belong. So the first one is what? Column A, which is what? Row ID. So to me, this row ID, what data type does it belong? I go to Home tab and I go to General. I put it at General. Note, kindly note please. See what I put down here. Any data type you assign as general has no specific format. No specific format. And is actually used mostly for unique identifiers or primary keys. Unique identifiers or primary keys. Example of unique identifier is BVN. I'm going to tell you BVN. As you as a human, you as a person, you are entitled to one number that is your unique identifier. So I can't, me as a person, I cannot have more than one BVN. Even if I have more than, I'm using more than 3 or 4 banks and bank networks and co. I am entitled to one BVN that synchronizes all my bank accounts in different banks. That is a unique identifier for me. Another example is your NIN number. They are unique identifiers. You understand? National identity number. They are what? Unique identifiers. So this can be likened to be a unique identifier in this data. These two, other ID can be likened to be a unique identifier because it's showing us the identifier, it's identifying every orders that were made in this what sample superstore. So these two, column A and B, I am going to leave them as what? General, no specific format because they are serving as unique identifiers or primary keys. Then other dates and ship dates. This is telling me dates. It is appearing as numbers here, but what I'm going to change, I'm going to change it to what? Short dates. And once I do that, it appears as dates. And when I do that, I click on my filter, you find out that they have been arranged serially as dates. See year 2017 and the months in under them, 2016 and the months under them. Next is what? Ship shipping mode or ship mode. This ship mode, remember I told you text are data types or the variables that what are in alphabets. Look at these values. They are in what? Alphabets. So I'm going to assign them as what? Text. Customer ID is serving as a unique identifier for each of the customer. So what? I'm going to still leave it as what? General. No specific format. Customer name, segment, country, city, and state. I'm going to be calling them and assigning them as what? Text, because they are all appearing in what? Alphabets. They are what? Appearing out alphabets. So next is postal code. This postal code, this postal code, I'm going to what? Assign it as no specific format, general. So we better leave it there. The next is region. What? Because it's in alphabets, what are we going to assign it as? Text. Assign it as text. The next for me is product ID. This is also serving as a primary key or unique identifier. This is the IDs of all the products that are being sold in this superstore. So I'm still going to leave it as general. I'm still going to leave it as general. So my product ID is still going to be left in what? General, no specific format. Next is categories. Subcategories, product name, okay, that's these three categories, subcategory, and product name. Because they appear in uh, text, alphabets, they are going to be assigned as what? Text. And after that, I will navigate to the last, I think it's the last 4 columns. This is sales. Everything that has to do with sales, everything that has to do with sales, we already know is currency, is appearing in currency. And watch, in Excel, we have two formats for Excel for currency. Either use currency, watch what is happening, or I use accounting. But if I use currency, you find out that the symbol, the symbol of the currency, be it naira, dollar, or and co, are compact to the figures. They stay together. They are together with the figures. For that, if I'm using currency, watch, if I change it to accounting, it stays wide apart, far from the figures. Me, I like using what do you call it, accounting. And me, the symbol I like using, because I'm a Nigerian, I like using naira. I want to know if or most of when you maybe probably use dollar and dollar, you keep using dollar. Most of us that use dollar, people are the one that is causing naira to be devaluating. So I like using naira at the moment. I like using naira. So this is naira. So if yours is not showing as naira, to change it, you can on the same place on your home tab and on this number format side, you can click here and then either currency or accounting, change the symbol. Mine, because I have made it, I've customized it to be naira. Naira is the first symbol I always see. You understand? You can choose dollar if you want. It could be Australian English, Australian dollar. It could be Chinese, anyone. You can use Chinese yen and anything you want. For me, I like using my naira. It's still going to be naira for me. There's another shortcut for that. There's another shortcut for that. The shortcut is alternate HFM. Alternate H, F and M. It will appear this box when you press it together. Not or when you press one after the other. Alternate H, F, M. This box comes up and you format it to what you want. I'm going to use naira again. Okay. So the next is quantity. Quantity is what? Number. Quantity is telling you the quantity of this Bush Somerset collection bookcase. How many quantities we have bought? 2. So I'm going to format this as what? Number. If you see this, do not panic. If you see this, do not panic. Always try to, what do you call it? Decrease the decimal number by this. This is for increasing decimal numbers. This is for reducing it. Then this counts, I'm still going to leave it as what? Numbers. I'm going to decrease. What happened? Sorry. Okay, this count is still going to be as, I'm going to leave it as, it's supposed to be at, okay, no specific format. Let me leave it as no specific format. This is just like how many percent discounts are being on this, applied to this. Like 0.45% applies to this. So I'm going to still leave it as no specific format because at the end of the day, when I do a calculation on this, I'm going to use this to multiply this to find how many percent discount and the actual price for each. Then profit is still going to be, what do you call it? Accounting profit. So that's that for this. I think next thing I'm going to be talking on is data formats. I'm going to be talking on this data formats. This is like how your data can be represented and stored. So data are stored in many formats. Most of us see it. These are sources of your data. Example is in text format. Number one, that's the first format data can be stored. Comma separated value is one. We normally see the CSV files, CSV files. The meaning is comma separated value. This is data that are being stored in plain text formats and they are separated by commas. That is why it's called what? Comma separated values. Example is when you have when you download your data and it comes off in this format and you now start seeing name, comma, age, comma, and all that. Another one in text format is TSV, tab separated values. So now the difference between this comma separated value and this tab separated value is they are separated in tabs. See these tabs and co. Next is JSON, JavaScript object notation. You understand? And you see it appear this way. Name is appearing in scripts, codes. Most of us will see like when we want to get data, you see JSON, you see get it as what? Like let me see data. Let me click outside. I say data and I say get data. You see from file. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? From workbook, Excel workbook, from text, CSV, from XML, extensible markup language, from JSON, from PDF, from folder. These are just the formats your data can be stored in. This XML is what? Extensible markup language. So this XML, JSON, TSV, and CSV, they are all what? Text formats. Because when you click on your get data and you see from file, you see all of them. These are text formats. XML is a text format, JSON is a text format, CSV is a text format. You get. So the next is what? Spreadsheet format. XLS slash XLXSX. So this for this SLXX, I think it is for Excel versions from 2013 and above to the current one that we have now, 2021. While this is the lower versions, the the versions that are outdated, like 2020, 2023 to 2027 to 20, you understand? These are the ones you see .sls. So you see when you look at your file, you see, let me show you an example. Let me go to this. Okay. Uh, Let me go to this and click on this. I think this is this is SLS.x. You understand? Or when you're trying to save your Excel, let me click file, save as. Let me say browse. You see that's where you see save as this one 1997 to 2003 workbook is SLS XLS, whereas this Excel workbook here is SLX SLSX. So these are the versions you get. So I'll cancel, I'll go back. So we have another format for spreadsheet format, ODS, Open Document Spreadsheet. These are files with library office calculations. Another format is database formats, the SQL format, structured query language formats. This is where you have scripts. These are for people like data engineers that help people to build databases using data definition languages and data manipulation languages. They build their databases, use data manipulation to insert all the columns, all the values in the columns, and then after doing that, they save it as what? Scripts, and send it to the person or the people they are having the project with. So your own is to what? Even if you are a data analyst and a data engineer builds a database using data definition language and data manipulation language and sends to you, you on your own will take the same scripts, upload it on your this is my or your workbench, my SQL workbench, and then run them. This is this is this all from here now. All these are SQL scripts saved as create database. These are scripts, codes that were written. Data definition languages here, then all created, then data manipulation language insert into. So these are what scripts, all saved, all written. These are what SQL scripts. Then we have another one, non-relation. These are that's for that's structured query languages for relational databases, MySQL and Postgre, and then non-relational databases formats like JSON, like documents, MongoDBL, and all that. Then we have next format we have data can be saved in images, can be saved as JPEG, can be saved as PNG, can be saved even in MP4 and MP3 formats, just for you to. So it's important to also know the formats your data can be presented as. You understand? Can be saved as, and where you can be, how you can what import them before you start analyzing, cleaning, and unco. So thank you so much for today's video. I'll be posting another video where this analysis will be made and data visualizations, chart dashboards will be built both on Excel and Power BI. You understand? I'm going to be building this clean data on my next video on both on Excel, building dashboard both on Excel and Power BI. So stay tuned. You can as well drop your comment section. I don't know how you do your data cleaning. You can drop whatever steps that maybe I omitted that you also engage while doing your data cleaning. So stay tuned. Thank you all for today. Bye.